What's going on, people? Welcome to Raw Boxing TV. Another live for you guys. I told you guys we were going to be grinding specifically for you guys, grinding for the boxing community, for the nations, the Raw Nation's citizens. I'm Ranger. I want to thank you for taking the time to being here with me today. We're going to wait a few minutes to see if a few of you join the live. We're still grinding to get those followers, even though I got the followers, but just to get the followers to hit the notification bell. Big news while we wait. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock at night, Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have PB's own David Morrell Jr., undefeated interim champion. He's going to be here with us tomorrow at the live, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go over a lot of the things that that I want to go over with him. We're going to get to know him a little more in person. We're going to take about a 20 to 30 minute to allow you guys, everyone that will be joining tomorrow, whoever's here with me tomorrow, to allow you guys to ask him specific questions direct from you guys, and so that he may answer them to you. No, you don't want to hear the answer from me. You want to get the answers from the man itself. Salutes to my man, the one and only GFunky Boxing. I hope everything's going very good with you, man. I hope whatever good you're waiting on comes quick and sticks around. We're going to wait a few more minutes and then we'll get going. We got a lot to talk about tonight, guys. We got a lot to talk about, not just the past recap this past weekend. We gotta go into the debate of Canelo being a doctor, Teofimo Lopez all of a sudden being afraid of Haney for whatever reasons we don't know. I've been on a little war with Akhi on my phone, but I'm the kind of person that I'm not gonna sit there and just text a lot. You know, if you write me a paragraph, I'm not gonna talk. I'm not gonna answer, even if you think that, you know, hey, I got Ranger. Good. Think that way. You know, my whole thing is come here where it matters, to Yard Stream or call a brother and let's go at it. You know, let's go at it. Because at the end of the day, it's very comfortable. Texting is very comfortable. Being, I don't know, just behind your own camera. Come on to the Yard Stream and let's get this debate on. You know, if you're so confident that everything you have is the truth, then nothing should strike you in fear, right? Unlike you, I'm looking for that long cancer. I want all that smoke, all of it, Akhi. You're my brother. You're a little kid. You're my brother, but I owe myself to the truth, to the reasoning. I owe myself to, what's up, D-Style? Thanks for being here, brother. I owe myself to common sense. I owe myself to leaving the water still to see what happened when the waves approach. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. You know, if Akhi calls, I'm grinding him right here. I don't know if he will. I told him to call me. You can just call and I'll link him. But at the end of the day, I'm my own man. Let's get that music down. At the end of the day, I want to tell you this, citizens of the Raw Nation. At the end of the day, Ranger is his own man. At the end of the day, Ranger speaks for himself. At the end of the day, Ranger is not afraid of losing a certain contact. At the end of the day, Ranger's not afraid of losing a certain amount of subscribers. At the end of the day, Ranger does not need YouTube to make money or pay his bills. At the end of the day, Ranger does not need at all whatsoever the support of channels that are willing to sell racism, channels that are willing to sell skepticism, channels that are willing to sell accusations without evidence, channels that are willing to make up excuses for other fighters. At the end of the day, Ranger's here having fun, and Ranger's always going to give you the truth, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to give you the truth. Yes, we have a lot to talk about. If you have not shared this video, share this video. Call your mama, your auntie, your uncle, your cousins. Have them come here, join us, and have them be active. I'm looking for smoke today. I'm looking for a little bit of smoke. Have them be active in the channel. I haven't felt like this in ages. I have not felt my blood pressure so jittery, ready to roll since my fighting days. Because that's right. Unlike you, brother, I was a fighter. Yeah, Akhi. Unlike you, I've worked corners. Unlike you, I trained fighters. Unlike you, I've been a head coach. Unlike you, I've wrapped professional boxers' hands. Unlike you, I've worked as cutman. There's so many things that I can say that unlike you, you can't, that I'm waiting for that call. I am actually waiting for that call. So let's just go ahead and start for the few of you that are here, out of respect for you guys. And if somebody else decides to join, fine. If not, I'm good with one watching. That is perfectly fine with me. So let's go over this past weekend's boxing card. We saw a very good fight, a very sad fight, unfortunately, on James Kirkland versus Juanito Montiel. You know, why do I say it was a very sad fight? Understand where I'm coming from with this. James Kirkland was the Mandingo, literally, the Mandingo warrior, right? Oh, GFunk, you don't understand, brother. You don't understand. It's gonna go down. Listen, when I tell people I don't need you to pay bills, they don't understand that I'm here without giving a damn. Excuse the expression. And I'm not mad at these people. I'm simply mad at the fact that they have moved away from what they were as boxing analysts. That they have fell into a comfort zone of selling spews for more views, and in the process lied to you guys and drag you. We're going to go a little bit into their lies. Their lies are so powerful. Their hype is so powerful. But if it works, it works. 2021 going to be a big year for HCP for a fact. For a fact. Welcome, Dave. Welcome, Dave, from the Shoe Shine. James Kirkland is a shadow of himself. I have to agree. 100% when it comes to that comment. And we're going to go into it. See, the fighter that he fought has an excellent, well, that's an overstatement, a very good record, right? Juanito Montiel has 21 victories, 4 defeats, 2 draws, and every single victory by the way of knockout, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is correct. James Kirkland has 34 victories, 3 defeat, and 30 knockouts. James Kirkland, every single defeat that he has in his record has come by the way of knockout. Yes, he's a shadow of himself. That's a fact. It was just sad because that was the guy that you used to go and see him giving you exciting fights. James Kirkland was never involved in a boring fight, ever. He always pushed the pedal. He always tried to give us what we wanted to see, which was the action-packed fight with the knockouts. And he had been 2 years without fighting. Last night he got up there and got completely obliterated by a fighter that knew how to use his attributes. So let's start digging into this fight, this very short fight, this fight that containing one single round, 3 knockdowns. From the opening bell, you could tell that James Kirkland, right, was James Kirkland just a squared guard looking for those haymakers to land. But you had a very, very composed fighter in Juanito, a fighter that knew he had the longer arm, a fighter that knew that he had in front of him an opponent that was open for any shot, a fighter that knew that he had in front of him an opponent that was shorter. And Juanito went to work, right? And Juanito used his jab, used his distance, and made work of that uppercut on the shorter, open fighter. Beautiful check hook coming in the corner to put him down, as a first knockdown. Beautiful check down. Kirkland was coming in reckless, as he always does. He saw the opening, and notice that sometimes it doesn't take much to simply make a statement in a fight. This man was he didn't put a lot of turning to it. He just caught the opponent coming in, used the movement of the opponent as a negative force, and clack, caught him coming in the corner, dropped him. Let me tell you, that first knockdown, he never recovered from that first knockdown. James Kirkland did never, ever recover from that first knockdown. The other knockdowns, basically, it was just a methodical breakdown. It was the finish. Juanito was putting the finish touch. He came in, he started basically keeping it at mid-range, long range, working the uppercut. I love the fact that Juanito went with that left uppercut under James Kirkland's jab. That was perfect. That right there tells you that is a fighter that prepared for this fight. That is a fighter that knew how to read his opponent. He read him and he executed. Right? The uppercuts was there. Beautiful night for uppercuts. The uppercuts was there. At the end of the day, he knew that James Kirkland was pretty much a done deal, let's just say. And so with that in mind, basically James Kirkland just pretty much needs to be, in my humble and honest opinion, he pretty much needs to be sitting down in his house thinking of hanging the gloves, as hard as that is. Kirkland has one of the worst chins I've seen in boxing. That is correct. That is correct, G-Funk. Like I said, man, all 3 of his fights, all three of his defeats have came by the way of knockout. He's been out. That fight versus Canelo Alvarez that fight was just a train wreck all over his face. Canelo put some work on that guy and just completely obliterated him. And it was, I think that was the end, the beginning of the end for Kirkland, because after that he only fought like 2 more times, and then last night 3 times, and he loses again via knockout. So Kirkland, I believe at his age, he needs to sit down and realize that the time has come for him to hang the gloves. Now, I don't know, to be honest with you. I have absolutely no idea what his financial situation is. You understand that? And so with that said, sometimes when fighters are hurting financially, we all know they make the dumb mistake of somehow thinking that they can continue to fight and they can continue racking up the big purses. And what they don't know is that in the process of doing so, not only are they hurting themselves, they're hurting their legacy, they're hurting their record. And we just lost a legendary fighter to pugilistic dementia. We just lost that. We don't know, like I said, what Kirkland's situation is. Absolutely not. So at this point, I'm pretty sure he's made some pretty decent money. I don't think he's ever broken the millions, but if you're smart with your money, you can make some out of it. So that's pretty much everything that fight offered us. Was a very good Juanito reading his opponent. What's up, A-Rod? Welcome, brother. That was a pretty good Juanito reading his opponent, executing his attributes, and putting Kirkland out of there quick and smooth. It was a smooth operation, methodical operation. And the kid has power. I mean, my goodness, all of his victories pretty much are, I think, by the way of knockout. If I'm incorrect, you can correct me there, but I think he's got 21 victories and 21 knockouts. So, which goes to show 21 victories, 21 knockouts, 4 defeats, 2 draws, which goes to show that when we say we want to see Berlanga tested, don't want to make the video about him, just because you got all your victories by the way of knockout doesn't necessarily mean that's how you're going to rat out undefeated. Look at Juanito, 4 defeats, 2 draws, unsuccessful six times in his career. But somehow all of his victories are by the way of knockout, regardless of who they were against, right? So just keep that in mind. Also, for those that are here, I want to remind you once again, I said it at the beginning of the video, but I want to remind you once again, tomorrow at 8 o'clock at night, Eastern Standard Time, you don't want to miss the show. We're going to have David Morrell Jr. joining us. We're going to go in depth about his life, his career, what his expectations are. We're going to have a Q&A section coming directly from you. The questions will come directly from you, and he will answer to you. I want to give that opportunity. I don't want to ask the questions for you. I want you to ask the questions for yourself, and I want him to answer directly to you. So tomorrow night, David Morrell Jr. will be joining us. Do not miss the show whatsoever. And talking about him, let's move on and talk about his fight. I think the fight, he missed weight by 2 pounds, I believe. And I'm pretty sure the reasons why they happened, but I'm going to allow him to explain it a little deeper tomorrow. I'm just going to say the overall. He was scheduled to fight at the end of January. And 3.5 weeks ago, he gets a call and they told him, no, it's not at the end of January. We're going to move it up. You want it? Obviously, a fighter that is hungry for success, a fighter that is wanting to fight, said yes. So the minute that he gets that fight, pretty much it's over. You signed the contract. It's time to just make it happen. And I just don't think that that 3.5 weeks was enough to make the weight. Welcome, Guido Pion. Saludo, mi hermano. Thank you for being here with us. So yeah, we're working, guys. We're gonna have David Morrell Jr. here. On the 3rd, we're gonna have undefeated prospect, PBZ's own Maidel Sando, 9-0 with 7 knockouts. We had to reschedule the fight because he lives in Nashville, and as you all already know, there was a bombing in Nashville, and he even has no cell phone record. He texted me today and said, "Hey, I'm still in line for the interview. It's just I got no internet. I had to drive all the way to grandma's, yada yada yada." And our prayers and thoughts are with them. So we are working here at Raw Boxing TV. We're working to pretty much bring you guys interviews with the fighters you want to see. After Salas comes back from Japan, I'm working on getting Erislan de Lara here. And if Erislan de Lara cannot make it, then Joe Joyce. But we're working. We're absolutely working. So let's talk about David Morrell Jr.'s fight. Let's talk about David Morrell Jr.'s fight. Because I'm seeing a lot of criticism online. I'm seeing a lot of unfair criticism online about this fighter. And I'm going to want to know why. Why? You got a guy that's 4-0. 4-0. He fought a guy that, yes, he didn't have an impressive record, but he fought a guy who was experienced as a professional. And not only was he experienced as more experienced than him as a professional, but he had over 20 victories. Yes, that's still not enough. But he's just 4-0. He's just 22 years of age. Right? He's only 22 years of age. But there's already criticism online. People talking about he ain't nothing. People talking about the Chalos will beat him. People talking about he ain't gonna be able to go against the top dogs. He's just 4-0, guys. He's only 22 years old, guys. What he has shown so far, guys, is that he has the talent to push forward. Yes, there's the little hiccup of the missing the weight, but I've already given you pretty much a general idea of what happened, and he will explain it out of his own mouth tomorrow when he joins us live at 8 p.m. in the show here, Eastern Standard Time. A fighter sitting, training, thinking that his fight is at the end of January. All of a sudden, he gets a call, and they tell him, yo, 3.5 weeks, you're up. At that point, he didn't think it was enough. He pushed, but the weight didn't come off as fast as he wanted it. So we are going to give him the benefit of the doubt until he explains it out of his own mouth tomorrow. So at the end of the day, guys, all we can do is take focus on these talents. That 168-pound division is getting a little heated. It's getting full of smoke. Full of smoke. And you guys should not be criticizing. You guys should be appreciating as a boxing fan that we had divisions such as the 168 super middle that is getting packed with raw talent. Think about this for a second. You got the number one man, Canelo Alvarez. You got Colin Smith. You got David Benavidez. You got Saunders. There's potential. One of the Chalos might potentially move to the 168. We'll wait and see if that actually does happen. You got Berlanga there. You got Morrell Jr. You got Maider Sando. You got a division that is getting packed with talent. But no, let's not appreciate as fans. Let's just proceed to criticize. How the hell does that make sense? I do not know. He made work of his opponent last night. He did exactly what he was supposed to do against an opponent, against the type of opponent that he had in front of him. In my opinion, I would have stopped the fight a little earlier. Yes, the other guy was tough. Yes, the other guy was taking it. But that was just it. He was taking it. As a ref, you have to keep in mind always the health of the fighters that are inside the ring. And Morrell was just landing at will. Really and truly, he was landing at will. The uppercuts were there. The 1-2s were there. The 2-1-2 combination was there to bring the first knockdown. The 2-1-2 combination brought the first knockdown. So I don't understand what the criticism is towards the guy. Because he's just 4-0. If we were talking about a fighter that's 10-0, 15-0, 20-0, then I could probably understand. But the guy still needs to learn how to compose himself in the ring. The guy still needs to learn how to work the ring as a professional, not as an amateur. The guy still needs to learn how to clinch, which is something you don't master as an amateur because it's not allowed as an amateur. The guy still needs to learn to manage his excitement. When you see him fighting, he's pushing, right? He's wanting to make a statement. So we have a very raw talent in the making that right now is not worthy of a lot of the criticism that was being given to him. Last night, I got to be honest with you, I was watching D-Style's show, live stream a few minutes ago, probably about an hour ago. One of the topics were that Latinos need to stick together when it comes to boxing, right? I have to agree. And I'm going to go ahead and say, welcome, Al Bates. He was good, just a bit slow. The rest, all perfect. Yeah. And part of that was mainly because of that, you're preparing for a fight that's at the end of January, and then you get a call and they tell you 3.5 weeks, you're up. There's a lot of things that could happen. What's up, Black and Brown Boxing? Welcome, brother. Welcome to the show. I like to ask you guys as you come in, hit that thumbs up, man. If you guys have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, activate the notification bell. A lot of it could have been because of that sudden switch, the shorten of time that he had to prepare for the fight. So we just have to wait. We just have to wait and see what happens in the future with this fighter. But tomorrow you guys will have the chance to ask him all kinds of questions. 8 o'clock. Don't forget, 8 o'clock at night, Eastern Standard Time. David Morrell Jr. is going to be with us. He made quick work of his opponent. He's an interim champion. Obviously, not the greatest of a deal, but something is something, I guess. When you're a boxer, any belt that you can put around your waist is something to add to your list, right? So we just have to keep an eye on the guy. We have to appreciate, and to go back what I was doing on the D style boxing show, we're talking about the unity that we need to have. I'm going to take it to another level and tell you that the unity that we need to have is not only as a follower, but it's also as an analyst. As a boxing analyst, we need to start being united. Only when we're united in truth. I will never compromise truth just to stay cool with you. If I feel like you're wrong on something, I'll tell you. I'll give you my opinion. We can agree to disagree. We can disagree with each other, always while keeping it respectful, right? It only makes sense because we all have the freedom to think or speak however we want. However, we do not have the right to expect for everybody to agree with us when it comes to a topic that is so open for interpretation like boxing is. Why do I say this? Hear me out for a second. Last night in the Spanish broadcast, the Latinos commentators, they couldn't find a way to give David Morrell any kind of credit. Any kind of credit. And to me, that was just heartbreaking. That was just heartbreaking. GFunk says here, that's right. All Latinos channels are coming together. La raza, you need that. I hope so. I hope we can stay like that. And I hope we can improve and support one another in truth and only in truth. We don't want to be like the other boxing channels that want to sell you guys spews for more views. In truth, last night, Guido, facts, raw boxing, that's how it should be. Last night, David Morrell Jr. was not getting any single kind of credit from the Hispanic commentators. Well, he's too slow. Well, he needs to learn how to work the ring. Well, he should have knocked him out by the end of the first round. Well, there was nothing that the boy was doing that was right. And my question is, if you know boxing, if you know your job as an analyst, then you should have known better that you got in front of you a 22-year-old who is a very raw talent and still has miles and miles to go. And within those miles, you can only expect him to learn. Don't forget, you're talking about one of the best amateurs that Cuba had. Do not forget that. Don't forget that with an amateur school behind him, the man in there can all of a sudden start showing us things that we still have not seen from him. Maybe he's just keeping it in the pocket. Don't forget that you got in front of you a fighter that is exciting or in the ring looking to make a statement. And while he's looking to make a statement, he may forget to do a few things. But it was very heartening to hear Latino boxing analysts criticizing a 22-year-old with only 4 professional fights, comparing him to as if he is supposed to have the skills of a Canelo Alvarez, of a Jamar Charlo, of a David Benavidez, of a top 10 super middleweight. It doesn't make sense to me, guys. So I like to propose something to everybody that is listening here tonight. And I like to propose something to every channel that is here tonight. For the sake of our followers here on YouTube, for the sake of Hispanics causing panic, for the sake of the citizens of the Raw Nation, for the sake of the citizens of D-Style, for the sake of this people, we need to just start covering this fight live and offering live comments without volume, and be very unbiased, very balanced, and very honest. Last night was pretty sad what was going on. It was pretty sad because, D-Style, GFunk, all of the members of the HCP, we're working hard for that kind of unity that today it seems to be diminishing little by little. in the sport of boxing, in the YTBC. Right now, all you get is spews for views, hate, accusations without evidence, people that ain't willing to debate you life because they ain't got the facts. They're afraid to get nervous and cornered into a corner that they cannot get out of. They cannot get out of without calling their YouTube daddies, because their YouTube daddies are in the other side of the world. And so, with that being said, members of the HCP, channels and followers, we need to start covering this. We need to do so in truth, with reason, common sense, and unbiased. David Morrell Jr., tomorrow, 8 o'clock here with me. You will have the opportunity to ask him whatever questions you want, and he will answer. Moving on to the next topic I want to talk to you guys about. Is Canelo ducking? Very interesting topic. Very interesting topic. Here's why I say it's a very interesting topic. Thank you, G-Funk. We working, brother. We working. This is why I say it's a very interesting topic. Anybody, this style so eloquently put it right here. He said, the truth will set me free. I am so free. That's why I speak without boundaries. Let's talk about this Canelo situation. Let's talk about, after the Canelo situation, let's talk about this Teofimo situation. Because all of a sudden, we want to have channels that want to get their mouth full of victimism and I'm oppressed and we suffer and all this. But then when it comes to the Latino fighter, the Latino fighter wants to be treated as a slave owner, as somebody that's never known oppression, as somebody that's never known suffering, as somebody that has never had to struggle, as somebody that has never had to abandon their land to come to a foreign nation and make something of themselves. That's right. That's right. D-Style Canelo is that duck that beats up all the ducks in the pond. LOL, hashtag facts. Here's the problem with the issue with Canelo. Let's dig into it, shall we? I need you guys active in that comment section. If you don't agree with me, feel free to disagree with me. I will never, ever just kick you out of this live or block you because we don't agree. The only way you get blocked is if you start calling me names or my subscriber's name or something like that. If you disagree with me, be free to speak your mind, and we can go back and forward. Canelo, the duck. Canelo, so afraid of the Chalo brothers. Canelo, so afraid of Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo, so afraid of David Benavidez. Canelo, so afraid of, my goodness, the soda man at the stadium. The taco salesman in the middle of DF, the Uber driver, the chilaquile maker. Is this what we're going to do from now on in boxing? Is that what we're going to do from now on in boxing, in the boxing community? Keep it raw always. Always. Listen, I'm not going to disagree in the sense that Canelo in the past might have or might have not said, it's not the right time to fight this guy, whatever. Well, here's that belt. Whatever the accusations are, let's just say that they're truth. My goodness. Let's just say that I want to agree with you guys for a minute. Now let's jump into the common sense. Let's jump into the reason. Let's jump into the business aspect. One of the aspects that I hate the most out of the sport, but unfortunately, we cannot separate it unless we're talking about amateur boxing. Canelo just became a free agent. He said, now that I'm a free agent, all of the fights people want to see me involved in are going to happen. I was debating Akhi earlier. He has not called me. And he said that De La Hoya was pushing Canelo to fight great fighters to be great. De La Hoya forced Canelo to fight Erislandy Lara. a fight that me personally thought Canelo lost. But as I said, boxing is such a raw and broad spectrum, the judges saw it otherwise. Well, see, if you go back to the, what was it, 24/7 or the all access of that fight, you can clearly see where Oscar De La Hoya is giving an interview and he says, I clearly told Canelo, I don't want him to take this fight with Lara. I just don't. He's the one that told me that he wants it. So if De La Hoya is pushing great fighters and he forced Canelo to fight Lara, how in the hell can De La Hoya say in front of Canelo, I didn't want him to take the fight. He's the one that wanted it, so I had to give it to him. You tell me, how in the world does that make sense? How does light mix with darkness? How does a negative mix with a positive? It just doesn't make sense, does it? Can you tell me one of the reasons Ryan Garcia wanted to leave the Golden Boy? Wasn't it because Ryan Garcia wanted the bigger fights because he wants to start making something of himself? That was one of the reasons, and you cannot deny it. So when you start telling me all of a sudden, see, what's funny is that before, to all these people that are hating on Canelo, before, Oscar De La Hoya was a rat. And now that Canelo left Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya is a saint. One of the best promoters we have in boxing. And how can Canelo do that? Right? He was just trying to make Canelo famous and great. But before, you used to hate on De La Hoya. Spews for more views at the end of the day. And the beautiful thing about technology is that we have video evidence of all of that. And the beautiful thing about technology is that once you say something, unless you delete it, and even if you delete it, there's always that brainiac. Always that brainiac that can always bring it back to light. You know, D-Style Boxing, we're just getting started. We are just getting started. Lawrence William, welcome, sir. Welcome. Welcome to the live. We're just getting a little heated here. We're going to touch on some very sensitive subjects tonight. And as I said before, if any of you do not agree, feel the freedom to disagree and post it here while keeping it PG and respectful towards one another. It is beautiful to debate and share different opinions. Different opinion. Let's see here. Mr. Hey, man, welcome, brother. One of my OG subscribers. The man's been with me for years. Even when I took that 6-year break, he was there. Welcome. It's always good. What they said, 3 fights for sure for 2021, possibly 5 for Canelo. See, how many fighters? Watch this. What this man just told us is very important because that's something that was slipping out of my mind. How many fighters, as we speak, at the level of Canelo, is giving you 3, 4, 5 fights every single year? Make it 3. Make it 4. How many? How many? How many? You can't even find them. You can't even find them. Canelo, Oscar wanted to milk the cow. That is a fact. Okay? That is a fact. I'm not here defending Canelo. I'm simply telling you something that is unavoidable. The truth. The truth. Y'all know me, and if Canelo was slipping, I would be the first one to tell you, even if I go to war with the Canelo fanboy club, which is not everybody that is a fan of Canelo. When I say fanboy club, you know, boxers always have the logical fans and the aesthetic fans, the ones that doesn't matter what you do, the fighter is a god and he never does anything wrong. Y'all know I'm not afraid of a little smoke. Lawrence Williams, Golden Boy played Ryan with that Duno situation, implying he was a duck for not taking the fight on short notice. Golden Boy, like I was trying to tell Akhi, poor little boy, Golden Boy Promotions have done so many dirty things. And I simply said on one of his comments, dude, at this point, it might even be a promotional issue. We just don't really know for sure. To him, that was me making excuses for Canelo. The mic is open, homie. And the brain's ready to go at it. All you got to do is call. And we'll debate boxing. And guess what? I'm not going to do you like you do the people that put you against a corner, that you immediately hang up on them and don't pick up the phone calls again. And you proceed to call them names. You proceed to do the very things they before you used to complain about. So now I want to ask a question to the Canelo hating crew. You want me to tell you, every time I hear these people talk, the only thing that comes to my mind is this.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
That's it. Let me ask you something. Why in the world is it that when Mayweather, my favorite boxer, that when Mayweather was making all of this business / boxing moves, choosing opponents, knowing when to fight an opponent, cooking a fight like he did with Manny Pacquiao, waiting for that fight to just explode. So whenever it took place, they can tell you, hey, listen, I'm going to charge you $100 to watch it. Instead of 50, I'm going to charge you double. Why is it that we have fights that are potentially being cooked and are not ready to be eaten yet? Why is it that it's not okay when it's Canelo doing it, but when Mayweather was doing it, oh, he's just the smart guy. He's just a genius. And to me, he is a genius. And to me, he is a smart guy. And to me, he is a very, very legendary slick boxer. Not the greatest of all time. Mayweather is the greatest of his era, not the greatest of all time. But my question is this one. Why is it that when Mayweather was cooking the Pacquiao fight for years, you guys defended it? In reality, he was making a boxing / business move. Black and brown, black and brown boxing. That's okay. Yeah, you guys are saying what's up to each other. Why is it? No answers yet, huh? I guess that question is just too pure. I guess that question is just putting you against the corner somehow. I guess that question somehow requires somewhat of a logical answer. It might expose your bias. Why is it that it was okay? My question is, when Mayweather was doing these things, but not when another fighter is doing it? Why? I'll tell you why.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
That's just a fact. We need to really sit down and just study what's going on. Now, I'll tell you this. As much as I'm defending Canelo, tomorrow I'm willing to jump at him with a knife and cut his throat when it comes to this, defending him, if he goes 3 or 4 fights without fighting elites. But right now, Yildirim stepped aside so that the Callum Smith could take place with the condition. He said, I'll step aside so you can fight Callum Smith, but with one condition only. Within 90 days, we have to start talking about our fight. There is no escaping our fight. Right? That's just, you can't deny the facts. And that's what's happening right now. Within 90 days, the guys are sitting down and they're scheduling the fight. Is he going to fight Billy Joe Saunders after that? Listen, how many of you that hate us, the Chalo Fanboy Club, how many of you were saying, Billy Joe Saunders is a guy that can give Canelo trouble and possibly beat him. But now that he's fighting Billy Joe Saunders, it's also a criticism. Let's let the fight take place. Let's enjoy boxing. Do you realize that none of this stuff happens at the same level in MMA? Maybe that's why MMA is a little bigger when it comes to boxing. Because it doesn't have a lot of those fanboys with YouTube channels making weird excuses for specific fighters. You want to call me a Canelo fanboy? Go back in my video history and slap yourself in the face. Slap yourself in the face. Man, common sense is a weapon that when used, it might even show you that you're wrong or that you're right. If Canelo fights Yildirim and beats him, which he will, I truly believe he will. Yildirim, we got to be honest and unbiased here. Yildirim is not an opponent for Canelo. Yes, we always have that thing that boxing gives us, right? That you never know aspect of the sport. That I closed my eyes and landed a lucky shot to the stomach, to the neck, to the chin, to whatever, and then just ended the fight. Yes, we know all that, but we can only go by the majority or the major evidence here is that Yildirim is not a fight for Canelo, but it has to take place, right? Yes, we'll have this Billy Joe Saunders. It's a pretty interesting fight. Billy Joe Saunders, even though people don't like him or don't hate him or hate him, it's a fighter that can cause trouble to anybody, really anybody with the style that he has. So we have to wait and see what happens. Once Canelo fights Yildirim, once Canelo fights Billy Joe Saunders, if he doesn't start fighting the top guys, the scary dudes of the division, then we can start saying, wait a minute. Let me break this down. What's going on here? If he doesn't fight a Benavidez, if he doesn't fight a Caleb Plant, I heard GGG is moving to 168 to look for a Canelo fight. I personally don't even want to waste my time watching that fight. I just got to be honest with you. I don't want that fight. I do not want that fight. You think almost 40-year-old GGG that looked 2 steps slower at the 160 pounds is going to look better or faster at 168 pounds? You think so? It's not going to happen, dude. Major Key Boxing, welcome to Real Boxing. Sure. I got to, hold on. Let me reread this because brother going blind here. Major Key Boxing, welcome to Real Boxing. Make sure y'all subscribe to my brother. Thank you, man. Thank you. We're working. We are grinding for you guys. Welcome to Major Key. By the way, I forgot to greet you on your previous comment. Well, thank you for being here, man. If you stick around at the end of the show and you've enjoyed the content, feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell and enjoy the ride together with me. You know, sometimes we'll agree. A lot of times we might disagree, but we're going to keep it respectful. William Elliott. Manny was the one who ducked the fight. Listen, but regardless, it doesn't matter who ducked who. The truth of the matter is that fight, when it took place, that's why I was telling you that it was a boxing/business decision. When the fight took place, it made more money than he would have made had the fight happened when fans wanted it. And that is an undisputable fact because we're not just dealing with a sport here. We're also dealing with a business. I hate it, but it's a reality of the sport. It comes with a business aspect attached to it. Maybe, I'm not saying that this is the case. It may not be. Maybe Canelo is ducking. Maybe he's not. Who knows? I'm simply saying, let's wait and see what happens in the next 2 or 3 fights. Because Canelo's only 30 years of age. Canelo is the type of fighter that likes to stay busy 3 or 4 more fights per year. If Canelo fights Yildirim, Saunders, and we don't start seeing tougher oppositions, then maybe we need to sit down and reconsider and maybe go after the dude. But as of now, leave the hater rate in the garage and put on a boxing cap. Oh, sorry, I forgot. You don't wear one unless they send it from Thailand. Sorry about that. Suleiman, welcome, man. You ain't been here in a minute. To me, Pac-Man Floyd, Bob, and all was okay to milk the situation. All of them were in agreement. These are all people that are looking to make every single cent that they can possibly make. For all we know, these fighters are in touch with each other and they come and agree with each other to say certain things about each other to light up the hype. For all we know, all these things are happening. And you, the fan, instead of sitting down, looking at the situation, gathering all the evidence, putting them together, creating a conclusion, now you're jumping in the hype wagon. And that's why you guys get disappointed after that. Is Canelo ducking? Maybe. Is Canelo ducking? Maybe not. I'm simply saying he's a free agent now. He said he's going to give us the fights we want to see. He came at the number one dude at the weight division, and he wasn't even a close fight. I didn't even give Smith one single round. If he doesn't fight a Caleb Plant, if he doesn't fight a Benavidez in the next 3 or 4 fights, then, and only then, thank you, GFunk. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate the support. Then and only then can we say, this brother is ducking the Charlos. This brother is ducking Benavidez. This brother, another thing they said, well, you know, if you do a poll right now, every poll is going to be 100% in agreement that, you know, they want to see him against the Charlo. And I can tell you that's a lie, because I've ran polls in my YouTube channel and in Twitter. In my last poll, 46% voted for Benavidez. So at the end of the day, guys, it's not always what's being told at the other side of the aisle. I don't see, hey, Peon, I do not want that fight, brother. Lawrence William, I'm cool with Yildirim, Billy Joe, and plan for Canelo 2021. If all goes well, I can see Canelo closing out 2021 in Japan versus Murata. That would be an excellent fight on New Year's Eve. Although I doubt that it's going to take place in Japan. But that's a big event over there. I agree with you. Listen, people don't realize that boxing goes outside of America. People don't realize that boxing is more appreciated outside of America than in America. I'll give you a perfect example. When Guillermo Rigondeaux fought a Magaza, that tall Japanese fighter, it took place in Japan. Japan reported that 32 million homes tuned in to watch that fight. It wasn't a pay-per-view, just regular TV. However, 32 million homes tuned in to watch that fight. Let's put it at a worst case scenario and say that 32 million homes only had one person living in it. That means 32 million people tune in to watch that fight. Can you imagine if we get the actual number of every house, how many people lived in every house? How many millions of people tune in to watch that fight? We're talking about Guillermo Rigondeaux, somebody that would have never sold a pay-per-view, by the way. I'm simply stating the point that boxing is more appreciated outside of America than it is in America. And that is an undisputable fact. It's sad, but it's an undisputable fact. Trust me. I often wonder why some fighters migrate from their country, risk their life to cross 90 miles worth of ocean shores and come to the United States to make a career for themselves, when they can go to other countries in Europe and Asia and become millionaires and become world champs and have a huge following and perhaps open the door to come to America to fight for a title, where the politics of boxing will not affect them. I often wonder that. But who am I? I'm just a guy on YouTube. I'm just a guy on YouTube. And that's a fact, right? Back of my mind, fan needs to be the best fighter. Correct. Let's see here. Lawrence William. That's all Japanese guys had. Rigo hurt and down in that fight. Yes. Yes. That guy weighed 142 pounds that night. That guy was so much taller than Rigo. It wasn't an easy picking, but I was just using that as an example. I don't want to deviate from the subject, but I'll be glad at the, once I cover the topics I want to talk about, I'll be glad to relive that, because that was a very exciting fight. Very, very exciting fight. We're talking about Canelo. We're talking about Canelo being the duck. And I'm simply saying, within reason, within common sense, within logic, within truth, the man just became a free agent. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt for now. And since he's saying that he's going to give us all the fights that he wants, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Then and only then, if it doesn't happen, then and only then can we come at him with razor blades and lime juice. But for now, let's stop the haterade. Let's stop the haterade, my people. It's not helpful for boxing. Teofimo Lopez. Who's ready for Teofimo Lopez? If you're in, you haven't hit the thumbs up, man, I would greatly appreciate if you do that. Also, I want to remind you again, tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, p.m., we're going to have WBA interim champion, super middleweight interim champion, David Morrell Jr. here with us tomorrow. He'll be joining us live. And you guys will have the chance to ask him whatever questions you want. I will be doing all of the translating because his English is not there yet, but we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. So make sure to tune in tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. I'm going to schedule the live tomorrow morning. So if you see it on my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate if you guys share it on your Twitter or whatever the case might be. Okay, Gio. I also feel like Canelo Alvarez can do big numbers if he fights in the UK. Absolutely. UK has one of the biggest boxing fan following there is. Why do you think that AJ is the kind of fighter that he is when it comes to following? All it takes is for a fight to go down, and the British are there. The British are there. So, yeah, if he fights in the UK, but the thing with Canelo now is you got to realize this is something that I really don't like, but it does happen. You know, once the A fighter is the A fighter, you know, he can call the shots and he can say, listen, you want to fight me, come to my country and fight me, or you can come to America and fight me. I don't have to go to your backyard. We don't have many champions in history that have done that. Submitted their territory to go to foreign lands and fight the contender or the challenger. It's usually the other way around. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the man is scared to fight the contender. It just basically means that I call the shots. I was once the one following the shots. Now I call them. So now you follow my shots. So I don't like it, but it happens. Okay. Teofimo Lopez, who's ready for that? Talk to me. Teofimo Lopez ducking David Haney. Teofimo Lopez being the guy who fought Nakatani. Being the guy who fought Lomachenko and beat him. Now ducking a guy like David Haney. Is David Haney a good fighter? Talk to me. You guys are quiet in the comment section. Is David Haney a good fighter? I'm going to wait on that answer. The takeover. And he sure did. He took over. Now he calls the shots. How's that? In the same way that Floyd Mayweather called the shots, in the same way that Oscar De La Hoya once called the shots, now he calls the shots. Canelo is going to fight in Mexico next year with Yildirim. It's set to take place in Guadalajara at the Chivas Rayadas del Guadalajara Stadium. So it's not a rumor. I think it's more than a fact. G-Funk, Haney is a talented but unproven. Facts. Well, he fought Gamboa. He fought an old Gamboa and couldn't get him out of there. You going to deny that? Ranger, how can you say that? Gamboa's Cuban and you're Cuban too. Because I'm a fanboy of boxing. I love my Cuban fighters. I ride and die for them. In truth. Not outside of truth. Realize that. Contextualize the things I say. Bring them within reason and common sense. And follow with me. Malik. Devin is a good fighter. It's just unproven. Facts. My whole thing is, what is wrong with David Haney calling out Mr. Lomachenko and saying, let's go at it. Whoever wins gets Teofimo. What are we so afraid of? David Haney's ducking Lomachenko. Can we say that? No, right? It wouldn't make sense. Because we don't know for certain. But what's wrong with the fight between Lomachenko and Haney? How is that a bad fight for Haney? If Haney is truly the boogeyman, as you guys want to call him, or whatever the new Floyd, or whatever the case might be, what's wrong with Haney versus Lomachenko? And let the winner have the takeover. What's wrong? Malik, Teo is the top. Facts. In the same manner Oscar called the shots once, he's calling it. In the same way that Mayweather called the shots once, he's calling it. And when Mayweather did it, you guys praised him and worshiped him for it. But now that a fight is doing it, you guys want to bring racism into it. As if the man was born in a silver platter. As if Hispanics and Latino fighters don't know what oppression is. As if Hispanics and Latino fighters don't know what suffering is. As if Hispanics and Latino fighters don't know what it's like leaving their motherland to start to make something of themselves in a land they don't even know, with a language they don't even speak and may potentially never learn to speak. Oh, but because David Haney and Teofimo Lopez are not fighting, somehow it has to be racism. Maybe you're the racist that needs to have that word stuck in your mouth in order to sell the spews for your views. Maybe you are the racist, the wolf in sheep clothing. That's you, maybe. And then you got your little baby Yoda with a little hat, basically mirroring everything you're saying. Maybe. Have you thought of that? David Haney, good fighter. Not sold on him. He hasn't showed me anything. Facts. I wouldn't go as far as saying he hasn't shown me anything. He has shown that he has the potential to be a good fighter. He has shown that he has skills to pay bills. But he hasn't done it in the manner that Teofimo Lopez has done it. Teofimo Lopez, his last 3 fights has been freaking good opponents. And how do you deny that the man took over? Oh, well, Lomachenko wasn't all that. Is that the argument? Wow. Is that the argument? Talk to me. Haney is not a puncher. No, he's not. Yo, Pindo. Why don't Devin Haney fight Nakatani? Oops. Oh, you hit a nerve. You hit a nerve. You know why he won't fight Nakatani? Ask Verdejo. The man that put him down for the first time. And the dude kept coming forward. And eventually got him out of there. Why won't Haney fight Nakatani? Beat Nakatani, then fight Lomachenko. Beat Lomachenko and say, I'm here. If you don't fight me, now you're ducking me. Talk to me. Talk to me. GFunk, I think Loma beats Haney. Yes, he does. And that's why they don't want to fight him. That is exactly what they don't want to fight him. Lomachenko beats Haney. You better be careful Lomachenko doesn't come back and beats Teofimo in a rematch. You never know. These 2 guys are so talented. We might have one of those, I beat you, you beat me, now we need a trilogy. I love boxing. Boxing. Not the business, just boxing. But unfortunately, when we speak of pro, we gotta put that aspect in there. Right? D-style. Canelo owns Mexico a fight in Mexico. Estadio Azteca. I have to agree with that. That was actually one of the things I was talking to my brothers-in-law father about, that Canelo owes the Mexican people to fight in Mexico. But the last time he fought in Mexico was, I believe it was either 2011 or 2013. And let's be real, guys. Let's not fanboy for a second. Let's be real. For some awkward reason, we don't know, Canelo is not as accepted in Mexico as he is here. Don't ask me why, because I cannot give you the answer. I don't even know that answer. And can you believe I heard a Mexican today saying that Canelo is not Mexican? He's a white boy. Wait a minute. That's like saying I'm not Cuban because I'm not black. Our nations have been colonized, people. Let's talk about history now, because history does mix into this subject. Our nations have been colonized. Our nations have blacks, whites, blondes, brunettes, capirros, indigenous. What are we talking about? He's not white. He's not Mexican. He's white. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard. And a little racist, might I add. D-Style. Guido, you check on my interview with, okay. Hey, yo, D-Style, that interview with La Flaca, that was the bomb. That chick knows boxing, homie. We need to have that chick. She's not just a fighter. She's a boxing head. She's a boxing historian. She breathes boxing. I watched that interview. I enjoyed that interview a whole lot. A whole lot. Guido, DMD. Okay, so you guys are going back and forth. Don't be beefing around here. Let's see. Malik. I like Haney a lot. I think he needs a big fight. Teo worked his way up with Comey and Loma. Haney needs to fight a big dog. Of course he does. You cannot expect Teofimo Lopez self-evaluating his way to the throne and saying, look, I fought this dude, and I fought this dude, and I fought this dude. I don't even have 20 professional fights, and I became the man. Now this dude wants to jump from Gamboa to me? Nah, he better put some work, homie. We got to cook this fight. He needs to be a little bigger so when I fight him, we can make some doughs. Breaking news. The whole truth. Teofimo Lopez prices himself out because he's ducking David Haney. That's the breaking news, people. That is the breaking news for boxing. The hate is real for Hispanic fighters. Facts. The hate is real from Hispanic fighters from a few channels that complain about oppression. And only under certain circumstances. Not all the time. We got to keep it real and unbiased. So at the end of the day, we're just going to keep on pushing. You on the spot, GFunk. You're on the spot. And that's what they are. That's exactly what they are. We're talking here. We're talking boxing, right? We're loving the conversation, right? Don't you wish that every channel had the guts to say, hey, let's do a video, man. Hey, let's disagree, but let's offer the followers of boxing in YouTube. Let's offer them a different perspective. Let's get together. Let's share our points. No, I don't agree with you. No, you don't agree with me. But let's just give it to them anyways. Let's let them hear different sides of the story. Put the clues together and have them come up with their own conclusion instead of cutting people when they're talking to you, hanging up on them. Now I get it. If somebody's being disrespectful and cussing you out and calling your name, it's time to roll, homie. Wrap it up. You got to go. But unfortunately, not every channel wants to do that. Not every channel wants to do that. Now I want to talk about Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell. I promised one of my subscribers was going to do a video. I haven't had the chance, so we're here now. What do you say? If you guys agree, we'll talk about it, you know? Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell. That is a very, very good fight coming up. They don't do trilogies anymore. Man, they should. Especially in a situation like that where two fighters are extremely talented. One beats another the first fight, then he loses the rematch. They should. You got to settle the score. We can go to bed 1-1. Somebody got to be the winner. That's crazy because there's a lot of white Mexicans in northern Mexico. Dude, if you go to Cuba, Peon, where are you from, brother? If you don't mind, if you don't want to post it, just say I don't want to comment on that. But where are you from? If you're Cuban, you're gonna agree with me. Watch this. You see my skin color, right? If I was to tell you that grandma's black, grandpa's white, mom's capirra, brunette, or trigueña, how we call it. My great uncle was Taino and white. That's the same as my grandma on my mother's side. And you look at me, you can see a genealogy of different skin colors. If you go to my land, my beautiful island, Cuba, you're gonna see whites, you're gonna see albinos, you're gonna see blacks, you're gonna see people that look South Americans. You're gonna see, well, there isn't a lot of natives left. There isn't a lot of natives left. There's still a small community in the Red Mountains, but it's a small family, and they're pretty soon going to be done with, unfortunately. So then we go to Mexico, a land that has been colonized. Well, hold on, my wife's Mexican. Los franceses, los españoles, ¿quién más? So you get the point. Mexico has been colonized just like Cuba, just like South America, over and over again by Europeans. They had slave trades in Mexico as they did in Cuba. Mexico has Afro-Mexicans, in case you guys didn't know. So Mexico has white people, brunette people, indigenous-looking people, black-looking people. And to suggest that Canelo is not Mexican, that he's a white boy, it's a disgusting, racist comment. You cannot dispute that. You cannot dispute that. Flaca is a boxing. Correct. I agree. That chick knows some boxing. I was listening to her speak, and I'm like, dude, this girl is not just a professional boxer. She's a fan of the sport. When you hear a fighter that says, look, I don't even make money, but I use my money to travel and watch fights, you have to know that's a boxing head right there. G-Funk, breaking news. Wow. Get the latest and the greatest, right? If you want to become a part of the gang. Spews reviews. Guido, you light skinned too. You Cuban, bro? Or where you from? Mexico? Puerto Rico? Dominican? Salvador? Puerto Rico? Where you from? Let's see. Oh, so you back? Okay. So, oh no, you're saying the same as Dominican. Yeah. All of those islands that have been colonized have different ethnicity, different skin colors. So it was a pretty disgusting comment to make. This style, round table, and my show, do bro. Of course, you working hard, keep working, keep it like that, homie. Keep it like that, because we need to make a change. G-Funk and I had an ESPN radio guy that felt Teo ducking Haney on no beef, boxing talk only. Man, Teo ain't ducking nobody. Business, man. They understand business. They want the millions. Ain't nothing wrong with making millions. People scared to keep it boxing. When truth not on that's when they don't have common sense, when they don't have reasoning, they're afraid to keep it like that. It's better to send the argument within the emotional realms, where people ride hard in their emotions, and whatever you say, they're gonna take it and shape it and eat it. Latinos are everything. That's why we understand so much. Dominicano Puertorriqueño. Shouts out, homie. I used to live in Jersey City, New Jersey. Let me tell you a quick story, and then we continue talking. We'll move on to the Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell subject. Let me tell you a true story. When we first moved to United States, I was a little bit kid. Obviously, didn't spoke the language. I went to Jersey City, New Jersey. If any of you from Jersey City, New Jersey, let me know. I lived in Waverly Street by Christ Hospital. The very first people that opened their doors to us were the owners of a bodega, and they were Dominicans. We used to call them los primos. Those people didn't even know us, and they met my mom and my grandparents. And the very next day, without knowing us or owing us anything, these brothers took us to a store and spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars in us because they wanted to welcome us to the United States. That was the 90s in the United States. The beautiful 90s in the United States. Dominican people have a special place in my heart just because of the experiences that we went through in Jersey City, New Jersey with them, how they embraced us. Then what came the Puerto Ricans. I'll never forget Manuel, Jomi, Luis Mojica. I'll never forget those homies. If you're watching, shouts out to you, brothers. Always in my heart. Always in my heart. Bolivians. The first time I met a Bolivian was in Jersey City, New Jersey. First time I met a Mexican was in Jersey City, New Jersey. Beautiful, beautiful memories. Beautiful memories. D-Style. HCP gonna sponsor her. Wakes broke my heart. Ain't that the truth? But I was telling you guys that some fighters get up in that ring to fight for $40 a round, 50, 100 rounds, depending on what they, whatever promotional company they're working with. So when she said that, I was not shocked. When La Flaca said that, I was not shocked. And it'd be nice if you guys want to do a show again, and we'll possibly have her here as well. I was not shocked when she said that because it absolutely happens. Looking to get what I make on the channel to sponsor some fighters. And if you do that, that'll be great. And that's also a good idea to sponsor fighters from South America and from any poor country that they're only making $10 a round. It's amazing. At least pay for their hotels, a couple $100. Dude, that's just such a great help, or cover their manager's purse. I mean, what's 30% of $100? That is absolutely nothing. Ryder, LA Boxing. Welcome, homie. Welcome. Let's see Peon, and then we'll move to the next topic here. Wow, that's an amazing story, bro. That makes me proud to see other Latinos helping each other. I loved it. So let's move on to Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell. Before I get into it, drop in the comments who y'all got for that fight. Come on. Don't be afraid. Luke Campbell versus Ryan Garcia. Drop it in the comment section. Hey, we'll be looking forward to that, homie. Ride pops up everywhere. You're welcome to pop here anytime, brother. Anytime. Like I said, we're not always going to agree. For those the people that are here right now, I want to just remind, in case you didn't hear it. First of all, obviously, if you have not hit the thumbs up, I'd like to ask you to do so if you don't mind. If you're enjoying the content and you're not subscribed, why not just subscribe and activate the notification bell and choose the all option. It's free. We don't charge for that. And also to remind you, tomorrow, not to miss the show, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, undefeated WBA interim super middleweight champion David Morrell Jr. is going to be here with us. Following after that, on the 3rd, if possible, PBC's own undefeated prospect, 9-0 with 7 knockout, Maidel Sando, is also going to be joining us. Now, the situation with Maidel might change due to the fact that he lives in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you've been watching the news, we all know that Nashville has just gone through whatever kind of attacks they went through. And a lot of them do not have cell phone towers, cell phone signals, internet, or any of that. So I've been staying in touch with him through tag when he drives to his grandma. So we'll wait and see. Garcia by KO by the 9th round. Ooh, G-Funk, you're greedy. Oh, you're greedy. Let's see what Ryder has to say. It's Ryder. No rider. Let's see. It's right there. Oh. Hey, bro. Sometimes I get on here and I just kind of like glance at things. So appreciate the Raider. Bro, that sounds kind of Cuban to me. That name sounds a little Cuban to me. Is you Cuban? Pop it in the comment section. Don't be afraid. D style. What happened in that Dolphins game, man? Hey, let's not start some things, brother. GOPN. I'm gonna be honest. I'm going for Ryan Garcia, but that's really hard for him. Luke Campbell is tough, is a tough fighter, should not be underestimated. I agree. There's still a few of you that have not told me who you're going with. Come on. Get down and get dirty and tell me who you're going with. Luke losses are two good boxers. Facts. Linares and Lomachenko they ain't no joke. To lose to Lomachenko is not to lose to just anybody. And Linares, back when this fight happened, Linares is still a credible opponent. So be careful what you say. Mr. Stowe, my OG, Sotelo. Let's see. But Ryan training with Canelo turns up his skills and experience. Facts. Ryan is still a dough, a raw dough. It's growing, right? It's a young kid full of talent. You can shape him in whatever way you want him to go. And so with that being said, you also have to realize that the kid has speed, has power, has potential. Let me see. Another one of my OG subscribers right here, the one and only. Welcome, mi hermano, Taino Indian. Welcome. Malik, Campbell is more experienced. I want to go for him, but Ryan's power in training with Reynoso. Facts. Good points that you guys are making. We're gonna dig into that fight right now. It's a very good point that you guys are making. Sotelo. Nobody knows Raiders any let's see. Anyway, haha, GP, he needs to play. Okay. Didn't quite get that, but I'm slow. Ryan Garcia is extremely gifted. You got Ryan. That's very fair. Ryan is too quick. Muy rápido. True. Ryan by KO in the 5th. Dang. Hey, Ryan, you even grittier than GFunk. Good to see you back, hermano. Hey, bro, I'm glad to be back. We're working. Obviously, with all the changes in YouTube, I got a couple thousand subscribers that have not touched that bell, so they don't even know when I upload, but that's fine. We're here working. And I appreciate guys like you, guys like GFunk, guys like Sotelo, like many other people that never left. So I appreciate you guys. And just make sure that to check to see if you guys have engaged that bell and be on the lookout, man. Tomorrow night, an undefeated champion, interim champion, is going to be here with us. So tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's see. D-Style Boxing, Ryan, 4th, TKO. Do you even grittier? Even grittier than GFunk. Okay. GFunk. Boxing next week. All new videos to come. So there. Okay. Right then. No worries. I'm Mexican American. Yo, you got a very Cuban name, dog. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like that, right there. Dude, that's such a Cuban name. Like, you go to Cuba, you be amazed how many Raider you're gonna find. Reiniel, Eugenel, all these weird names. But ain't nothing wrong with that. My kids are Mexican, Cuban American. So props. Let's go into the fight, man. I've already gotten your point. Let me go into this fight. Let me be as fair as possible with both fighters. I absolutely like both fighters. I think the timing is right for this fight for Ryan Garcia. I think the time is also right for Luke Campbell that needs a boost in his career. Very good fight. And we have to give Ryan Garcia credit. Let me start with Luke Campbell first. Luke Campbell is a guy, it's no secret. His defeats have been against very, very good fighters. One of them being Linares, one of them being Lomachenko. With Lomachenko, he put up a hell of a fight. Obviously, it wasn't enough, but he put up a hell of a fight, right? Here you go, man. He put up a hell of a fight. So at the end of the day, yes, he lost. But he can be proud that he did not give up. He can be proud that he wasn't knocked out. He can be proud that he put up a good fight. Now, of course, a defeat always hurts. It hurts your pride as a fighter. It makes you question your future, right? It makes you question your future. But nevertheless, Luke Campbell is a fighter that is very cagey, very crafty, knows how to work the distance, very tough, very smart in the ring, with a good amateur pedigree, not just some guy that picked up the gloves and said, I'm going to become a professional now. So he's a guy that has more than just professional experience. He has a schooling behind him, right? Luke Campbell is a fighter that, although not as fast as his opponent, he is a fighter that knows how to set traps at the mid-range. He's a fighter that knows when to come in with the jab. He's a fighter that has a pretty decent, from time to time, when he decides to shoot it, them check hooks, they're pretty nice. But you know, that Luke Campbell, in my opinion, has one thing that is very, very vital that he needs to correct. His guard is too open. His guard is too open. He seems to be stiff from time to time. And that is why he's not able to execute a lot of the things that before, at the beginning of his career, he was able to do. Now, I don't know if it's because of the type of opponent that he had in front of him or what the case was. But the fact is that is what's been happening. Now, the keys to victories here. Luke Campbell needs to take advantage of a fatal mistake that Ryan Garcia still makes, and I'm hoping Reynoso can correct it within the next 3 to 4 fights before it's too late. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he's flashy. Yes, he has power. Yes, he's knocking dudes out. But that chin, please, somebody tell Ryan Garcia that chin is too damn high. You cannot fight like this and expect to go till the day you retired. No, you cannot. It's too high. Duck that in a little bit. Bring that hand up. When you're shooting them hooks, all it takes is a good counterpuncher to time you, and then he's going to test your chin. Yes, he's flashy. Yes, he looks good. Yes, he's wonderful. Yes, he's talented. But please correct that mistake. You must correct that mistake before it's too late. Maybe Luke Campbell cannot take advantage of it. Maybe. But somebody might come and take advantage of it. Why wait till something happens for you to correct it? Why not correct it now? Why not correct it now? Yeah, that's a fact, sir. Malik, yeah. No problem. You forgot. I forget a lot of things when I'm on the mic. And then I might watch parts of my video and I'm like, dude, I'm dumb. Why did I say that? Or I forgot to say this. It's only normal. Sotelo, I'm thinking you guys are beefing or going back and forward, whatever. Oh, so it's not your real name. Okay. Whoa, forgive me. Forgive me. Sotelo. That's right. Keep it clean, guys. I like that. So, yes, the very thing that, in my opinion, that Luke has to do is take advantage of the fact that Ryan Garcia leaves that chin up. Is take advantage of the fact that Ryan Garcia has not been tested to fight on the inside with a very experienced fighter just yet. Cut that distance. Go to the mid-range. Be very careful what you do in the mid-range. You only want to hang there for a little bit. You want to use that as a strategy to go in. Take the fresh fighter to places where he hasn't been. See how he reacts to that, and then take advantage of it if you see a negative reaction. Work off of Ryan Garcia's inexperience. Work off of him. Ryan Garcia, what does he have to do? The only thing that Ryan Garcia has to do is be Ryan Garcia, put that chin down a little more, keep Luke Campbell on the out. Be first because you have the speed. Oh, but he's a counterpuncher. No. Scratch that. He's a counterpuncher, but he's fighting a fighter that is so much lower than him. Be first. Take the key in your hand, the jab, and open every single door. When you open the door, see which room you like more and execute. Be first. What does Ryan Garcia needs to do? Don't worry about the knockout. Break him down. Put a good show. Yeah, we know you got power. Yeah, we know you look good. But you're getting to a point in your career where you have to start looking amazing. And to have a fighter like Luke Campbell in front of you, it would be good for you to ride him, punish him. And then when the time's right, 8th, 9th, cortarle la cabeza. Guillotine him. Get him out. Because although a first round knockout is impressive, it's also impressive for your fans to see, well, man, he's still at it. Man, he's just picking this guy apart. Oh, he just knocked him out. What a performance. You remember when I did that interview with Salas that he told me, when I told him, yo, my favorite memory of you, Salas, is when you told Gamboa, la amenaza, suéltale los perros. You remember what his answer was? Somebody had gone to the locker rooms and told Gamboa, can you please drag this fight up until the 9th or the 10th? And then if you want to knock him out, knock him out. And that is exactly what they did. Not all the way to the 10th, but they drugged the fight instead of finish it when they could have. And he made for a very exciting fight. That's simply what I'm saying. Now we know you got the goods. Now you know you can win. It's time to show your fans, I can box, I can go the rounds, and then I can finish the fight when I want to. When I want to. Guido Peon. I'm sure Eddie Reynoso is correcting Ryan Garcia to keep his hands up. Yeah, not only his hands up, that chin. Because you can be here. Okay, good. You can be here. Here, let me move this. Let me move the comment out the way so you can see. You can be here. But you're still up there. Watch this now. Watch this. I'm going to move the mic for a minute. Right? Watch the difference. Which one you like more? Talk to me. Which one you like more? That chin has to come down. It's one of the golden rules in boxing. That chin has to come down. And the reason that now is the time for him to do so is because now is when he's a young fighter. Now is the time to correct everything in your career so that you can progress as a sharp and educated fighter. When the tree grows and the branches bend, you can prune. But if you prune too late, it's going to be a little hard to redirect that tree. It's going to be just a little hard. So at the end of the day, that's all we want to see. We want to see him correct the little minor mistakes that he's making. Normal. Every fighter is going to make mistakes, especially at that age, especially looking to make a statement, right? So at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with the kind of fight that he's going to have. But I would dare myself to say, be careful and don't underestimate Campbell. Because a fighter of his caliber, with his experience, can pull a rabbit out of the hat that you never expected. And boxing is the sport of the unknown, the sport of the upsets. I'm telling you guys, I'm looking for 2021 to be an excellent year of boxing. I'm looking for every channel in YouTube that does boxing commenting to start focusing on being a little more honest. Now there's a group that's doing it. There's a group that's doing it. I myself have vowed to do so. And if it just, as a consequence, I only write the rest of my YouTube days with 10 subscribers, that's fine. That'd be like sitting in a room with 10 of my friends that speak boxing. That's all it takes. I don't need YouTube to make the cheddar. I make the cheddar. So you ain't never going to get the spews for views on me. Now, obviously, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. I'm going to ask you to hit the thumbs up, share my videos, all that good stuff. But I'm going to do that while I'm being honest with you. So we're about to wrap it up here, guys. I want to remind you once again, tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, do not miss the show. Do not miss the show. And if any of my homies want to be in, DM me on Twitter, and I'll talk to Morrell. I'm pretty sure he won't mind. Let's have fun tomorrow. Tomorrow is time for you to ask him, why didn't you make the weight? Tomorrow is the time for you to ask him, well, who do you want to fight next? Tomorrow is the time for you to ask him, how long before you feel like you're ready for a berlanga? Tomorrow is the time to ask him all of those questions. And although I can do so, I don't want to. I want you to do it. I want you to do it. I'm simply going to open the interview by having him talk to us about him, so we can get to know him a little more. And then when it gets time to the hard question, as long as they're respectful, I'm going to put them on the screen and I'm going to translate them. And you're going to get the answers specifically from him. Specifically from him. So I'm working hard, guys. We're probably going to get these fighters that I've been mentioning, big name fighters, early in 2021. But unfortunately, those fighters, their schedules are not like our schedules. Haney has 2 mandatories, winner of Ryan Campbell, and then Fortuna. Facts. Let's not talk about that, because it sells better if we say that Teofimo is ducking him. It's going to sell a lot more if we say that the reason the fight's not happening is because of racism. It's going to sell a lot more if we say that, oh, Teofimo is overpricing himself. How dare you give us so much facts, so much undisputable facts right there. How dare you? Don't you know that the new YTBC, they all we do is want to ride in our emotions and have more spews for views and tell you that it's all about racism when these fights are not taking place? GFunk, same for me. I do this for the love of boxing, not the money. I got my own. Facts. And you know that they know this, because I used to tell Dante that. I said, homie, I don't want to do this for money. I like the money. If the money comes, bring it. But I want to do it more so because I love the sport. And he used to tell me, and it's in the comments too in our old videos, he is doing it for the money. And I'm not knocking him for that. I'm simply knocking them for doing what they're doing now. I'm simply knocking them for sending me some or replying to my comments and then not having the guts to come here and do a face-to-face. You know why? Because I'm not in their channel. So over here, they cannot hang up on me and do all that. In here, unless I kick them out, they're going to be forced to debate. And this is more for Akhi, because I really like Dante. I think Dante's just business strategizing, but it is what it is. I'm here and I'm like water. You remember that scene from Bruce Lee? Be water, my friend. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. That's me. I'm trying to be like water. Sotelo 503. This is the thing with Ryan. He hasn't really had a challenge or many fights in the later rounds. If Campbell can take it the distance, it might favor him. It might favor him. But say that Ryan finds a way to dominate Campbell from an early in the fight, right? If he knows he can get Campbell out of there, but he chooses to stick around, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, it's time. I'm done playing with him. Let me go ahead and wipe him out. I'm gonna enjoy that. I'm personally gonna enjoy that. One more fun fact, right? That winner of Canelo Colin Smith was to fight mandatory Yildirim. It was in the contract. So no ducking is valid. That's what I said at the beginning of the video. That's the fact that they don't want to hear. That Yildirim took a step aside so that the Smith fight can happen, with the conditions that once the fight took place, the negotiations for his fight would take place within the 30 days after the fight. That is simply what's happening right now. Then Canelo, I think, is going to fight Saunders. If Canelo fights 2 or 3 more fights and he doesn't start giving us the tough fights, like the crazy fights, like the Benavides, like that's the Plant, one of the Charlos, if they move up to 168, I think one of them is. Then we can start saying, let me see what's going on with Canelo. Maybe we can start, changing the direction in which we view Canelo. But as of now, we can't. We can't. He ain't trying to get that smoke. He ain't trying to get that smoke. That's a fact. It would be interesting as well, Lawrence Williams. And thank you for that comment, because that is that's actually one of the things that I had in my mind. But when I get up here and I start opening my mouth, I forget 75% of the things I wanted to say, to be honest with you. This is a very good fight for Ryan Garcia. If he dismantles this fighter, it's time we start considering him a serious threat. A serious threat. Let me see here. They're around the same. Yeah, but let's see. A-Rod. Man, brother don't want none of this. And I won't go to his channel, because I know what's going to happen. The minute I corner him, he's going to hang up. Here, I'm not going to hang up. I'm not a coward like that. You got your point? Bring it. If your point is right, I'll give you your props. Good night. We'll talk another day. That's what real men do. GFunk. I already asked Akhi some real questions. I checked BoxRec. LOL. You have to. BoxRec gives us a lot of the info that sometimes we don't have in our head. So, Ryder, Campbell is definitely irresponsible at times when exchanging punches. Yes. But those are the things that Ryan Garcia and his corner have to take into consideration, have to take advantage of. When you go into a fight, you want to study your fighter, see what his downs are, what his attributes are, what his downfalls are, and you want to take advantage of all of those things. In the same way, I'm pretty sure if Campbell is very smart, he's looking at that chin. Maybe he's looking to sacrifice getting hit with a jab to, simply time that jab midway and send down the pipe, an overhand left, down to the chin. Just test the young boy's chin. Let's see what his reaction is. So at the end of the day, guys, I'm kind of liking the fact that 2021 is going to open up with a banger. So let's just hope that 2021, it's a better year for boxing. It's time to start getting the seats fool all over again, right? Oh, okay, that's directed towards John. It's time to see this fight. The stadium's full all over again, and so let's hope that boxing gives us what we want to see. That's all it is. We just, as boxing fans, we want to see these fights. GFunk, make sure to subscribe to Rob. I appreciate you, GFunk. Appreciate the support, man. Guido, they say, I have been blocked on Boxing Eagle because he doesn't like truth. What I say about Canelo, and I also ask him for debate. Unfortunately, he doesn't. That that is exactly what I've been saying. If you go back to the beginning of this video, of this live, most of them don't have the fortitude. Let's just leave it that way because I'm trying to keep it PG. The fortitude. And I just don't like the fact that, listen, if you're just gonna do it for the money, I can't knock you for wanting the money, but it just kind of sucks when you completely change and you're willing to go up against, you're willing to give up your principles and your honesty just for a few clicks and likes and whatever the case might be. G-Boxing, the way y'all ask real boxing talk, even the people from ESPN will have problems. Que no? Of course. Yo, I've said it before. Look, you bring me Brian Kenny. You bring me, what's this fool's name? His name escapes me right now. You bring me all them bombs. And I the first thing I would do is I would allow them to speak. I would allow them to sit in their throne of I'm the ESPN analyst, so therefore I know boxing, and therefore I'm gonna spew whatever I want to say. So the ones that hold that nonsense, I can catch it in the air and say, like, wait a minute, just before you go on, let's clear this fact here real quick. And put them against the corner with a sword through the throat. They won't know what to do. They will not know what to do. They will not know what to do. So Telo, I like this fight for Ryan. Can see if he can beat a solid veteran. If he can beat a solid veteran, as like I said, it's going to be time to start considering him a threat. The thing is, 78 took a route and they all followed. Yes. And I've never had an issue with 78. I came back, he saluted me or whatever. But that is the thing. I don't have a problem with you expressing your point of view, well, whatever you might think. But the minute you start saying nonsense like, if Teofimo doesn't fight Haney's because there's racism involved, you got to get called out on that. You have to get called out on that. you just can't go by and vomit in that trash and expect not to be called out. You cannot do that. Oh, I seen that video, G-Funk. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good video. And they lucky I'm not playing that video you sent me, where Teofimo Lopez's dad confronts David Haney's dad, Bill Haney, and tells him, so what are you saying? That we're ducking your son? No, sir, that's not what we're saying. Now, the minute Bill Haney says that, you just shut up and change the subject. A-Rod, Boxeo, thanks for being active, brother. Yeah, oh, dude, I would eat David Falterson for dinner. The biggest Canelo head. I would love to see him against a real question. Not only boxing, and other sports too, that he thinks that somehow he knows what he's talking about. I would eat that boy for dinner. For dinner. So, anyway, guys, I'm having fun here, but it's getting time to close it because the brother got to get up real early. I absolutely thank you for hanging out with me. I absolutely appreciate the support. Once again, I want to remind you guys, come back tomorrow. We're going to have an excellent show with Morrell Jr. a fighter that if remains in very disciplined to the craft and keeps pushing and keeps getting dedicated, a fighter that's going to give us a lot to talk about in the future. He's going to be here with us tomorrow. You're going to ask him the questions and he will answer you directly. I really, really appreciate the support once again. And hopefully, as we keep putting work for you guys, we can be rewarded with your time. When we do lives, we can be rewarded with your respect, and we can be rewarded with your willingness to exchange in a conversation with us. It's been pretty fun, actually. I was kind of worried because I hadn't done a video in a few days, but some of the homies had their own lives. I didn't want to intervene with that. I didn't want to come in the way of that. And so tonight was the night. Tomorrow is going to be another good night. And like I said, maybe on the 3rd, I'll have another PBC undefeated Maidel Sando, 9-0 with 7 knockouts. Hoping that everything with him in Nashville, Tennessee gets better. All right, Peon. Be good, brother. Gets better in see you guys. Yeah, that happens. It is what it is. It is what it is, brother. Raw Boxing TV people, it's been fun. But for tonight, we is out. See you tomorrow, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. David Morrell Jr. at the Raw Boxing TV will be interrogated by the Raw Nation's citizens. You guys